Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Goalpost Podcast. Been a couple of weeks since our last upload, but we're back again, joined alongside by Will and Lee. How you both doing, lads?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Not too bad.
Yeah, very well. Thanks, Darius. Yeah,
Good.
can't complain.
Today, we're going to be going over the Champions League games that have just gone. Some of the key games with the British teams: Liverpool, Chelsea, Man City, and Tottenham. And then we're going to be looking ahead to the big game of the Premier League weekend: Manchester City versus Liverpool. Can Manchester City potentially go to the top of the table, or potentially can Liverpool pick up some points in a game that they really do need to do something about, seeing as they've not been at it this season, which you lads would probably agree with as well. So let's get straight into the Champions League. Who should we start off with? Should we start off with City?
Yeah, can do. Yeah.
Start.
Fine.
So Lee, obviously you're a Man City fan. That 0-0 draw against Copenhagen. Take it away, really. What was
Well,
sort of things you took away from the game?
well, it's just a bit of a meh kind of game. There was quite a bit of VAR controversy, as seems the usual with the handballs and a red card, which probably was a red card, which inevitably killed the match in the end. Gomez got sent off, and it was kind of like play as if you want to win, but don't try too hard, but definitely don't lose. And because you got Liverpool at the weekend, so it was a bit like, yeah, Copenhagen played quite well. They probably deserved the point, but at the end of the day, we got the point, and because Sevilla and Dortmund drew, we have gone through.
Yeah, no, you're probably going to qualify anyway. To be honest with you, Lee, looking at that group, you probably are the favourites for winning this competition this season. So do you still have that opinion that you can finally win the trophy that you've been wanting to win for probably the past 10 years now? Is there still a belief that it
I
will
mean,
be this season, especially with Haaland being as good as he is, and it's all working. It's City are a very good team, but it's you're on another level, it seems to be this season. So do you think it could be this year?
yeah, well, I think we'll definitely go far into the competition. We've obviously gone further than we have been before in the last few years. We got to the final against Chelsea. We should have been in the final last year, and yeah, it's definitely seeming like, and it's working a lot better in the Champions League, and especially with Erling Haaland up front, we shouldn't have the problems of missing chance after chance. Because you saw in that Real Madrid game last season, when we beat them 4-3, realistically it should have been about 7-3 with the amount of sitters we missed. And that inevitably is what cost us in the end, not the fact that, well, also the fact that we had a bit of collapse at the end, but we should have been way out of sight by the end of the first leg. So that Erling Haaland is always going to be a big thing if we're going to win the Champions League. But then again, it's a cup competition, so anyone can knock out anyone. Not always the best team goes through, and it's one of those that if we win it, be good. But if we don't, there's always next year.
Lee, obviously Holland didn't play on Tuesday night. How did Alvarez do up front?
Yeah, well, Alvarez has been very good at what I've seen of him so far this season. He reminds me a bit of Carlos Tevez because he's very high pressing, high energy. He loves a snapshot at goal and whatever. I think you saw with the goals against Forest that he scores, like he'll just turn and hit it. And he had a few good chances last night, but to be fair to their goalie, he did quite well to keep him out.
Sorry, I was just looking at FootMob. No sponsorship. Yeah. Did Mahrez miss a penalty?
He did, yes. It was quite bizarre. He had a relatively awful game, did Riyad Mahrez. He's not been the greatest this season. He scored in his last two previous to this game, but he didn't get the assist, but it was his handball that cancelled out the Rodri goal where he just twatted it in from about 25 yards. Amazing goal. Should never really been ruled out because it just kind of dropped and skidded off his wrist or whatever. Shouldn't have been ruled out. And then the penalty was kind of the same. So he gave the penalty. And then Riyad Mahrez is not a great penalty taker. I think we've seen that in recent years. He missed one at Anfield. I think he missed one against Tottenham. And I saw a stat that since Pep Guardiola took over, we've missed 24 penalties, which is more than any other side in the Premier League by about 9 or 10, I think. So it's not good from the spot, but hopefully later down in the tournament, we should have Erling Haaland on the pitch to take the penalties.
You obviously looking towards Liverpool. We'll get into the conversation later. But do you think Haaland would be disappointed not to get any minutes in the Champions League this week to add to his incredible goal tally this season?
Yeah, I see why he might be disappointed, but it's also the fact that we've played 9 games in the Premier League. We've played 4 games. That's 13 games, including the Community Shield. He's played 14 games, and the season only started 2 months ago. So it's not too much of I don't think he'd be that disappointed. It's that game. No matter what really happened in that game, you expect us to go through anyway. And yeah, it was always good to see Alvarez start, but he's going to be fully refreshed to play at Anfield on Sunday, I think.
Yeah, I mean, what else is there to say apart from bloody City should go far in the competition, shouldn't they? Really,
It should do, definitely.
Darius, do you want to take over and talk about your team?
Chelsea.
Yeah, Chelsea are to believe. Obviously, Mr. Potter got a result against AC Milan.
He did, yeah.
You've done very well against them. Obviously, it helped with Tomori being sent off.
Mhm.
What did you make of the game?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's great to win against obviously Italian opposition. We've not done too well, I think, against Italian opposition in the past. I don't think we'd won a game in 8 previously playing teams from Italy. So it was a very important win for us, especially that you go back to 6 days ago when we played them in the reverse fixture at home. We beat them 3-0 quite convincingly, but we were bottom of the group. So we've gone from bottom of the group now to being top of the group. And it's sort of turned around really in the past, 2 games, which, I think the game itself probably wasn't the greatest from a neutral point of view because it was sort of ruined, in the first 15-20 minutes with that sending off. But as a Chelsea fan, I couldn't be more happy to get, back-to-back clean sheets and pick up 2 wins against a side that many people would think would be the second favourites at least to go through. They're the current Italian champions. So yeah, no, it was a good win, but I can't lie. I think the game was a little bit ruined by that sending off because I don't think it was a red card. I think it was a penalty, but I don't think it was a red card.
And I've got a question for you, Darius. I obviously know that the number 9 shirt at Chelsea has been, some would say, cursed over a number of years now. But Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, he's got, I think it's 3 goals in his first 5 games. What have you made of his start and how he played last night?
Very good, to be honest with you. We've needed a number 9 since I think Diego Costa to, bang in the goals and, be quite prolific for us because we're a team that, we control the game. We like to have the possession of the ball, but if we can't finish, the chances and have someone put the ball away in the back of the net, it's questions are asked all the time, and we've had some bad results and not very great results in the past because we haven't had that clinical finisher that can, provide in front of goal. But he's looking good so far. I didn't expect him to be the guy that would do that. I didn't think we'd sign him, going from Arsenal to Barcelona, then to Chelsea. But I don't really think that matters too much. He's come in and he wants to start in the team. He's scoring more goals than, some of the other players around him, like Havertz and other players like that. And he's a proper number 9, striker. So yeah, I think he's very good. He's obviously got a lot of pace still, and yeah, let's see if he can keep scoring goals and keep it up across the season, because that's what we need.
Did you get him on loan, or is it a permanent transfer?
I think it's a permanent. I think we've got him on a 2-year deal.
Okay.
I think, yeah. So we've got him this year and next year as well. I don't know whether there's an option to make it a 3rd year as well, but you've got to take into account he's a 33-year-old player. I'd prefer to have got someone in that's younger, or maybe even use Brozier up front, because he scored at the weekend against Wolves. He looks like a pretty good striker, but I mean, in terms of Aubameyang, he is well experienced. Played at the top for a lot of his career, scored many goals. So look, I don't care who it is really. If the striker's putting the ball in the back of the net and putting up good performances, that's all I care about as a Chelsea fan. We get the win, and that's it. And Potter's made a great start, because I think he's not lost a game. He's had 5 games so far. He's won 4 in a row, and he's had that draw as well in the Champions League. So yeah, he started off really well.
How far do you think Potter can take you in the Champions League this year? If I mean, do you think you've topped the group? Because it's quite tight in your group at the minute, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's probably still too early to say. I think we should top the group. We have Salzburg and Zagreb to play now, and I can't see how we don't get at least 4 points from 6, from a maximum 6 points in them 2 games. I mean, we should finish top of the group. I think we're probably the best team in the group. In terms of how far I think we can go, I mean, yeah, a couple of years ago, Frank Lampard was sacked, Tuchel took over, and we went on and won the Champions League. I'm not saying that we can go and win the Champions League with Potter, but it seems to be sort of similar circumstances where, we've had a manager sacked and a new one's come in. Potentially, he could take us quite far, but it's probably too early to say. I mean, I think quarters, semi-finals, probably where we'll end up, if I had to say where I think we could go as far. But it's the Champions League. What's so good about it is that anybody can win. Anybody can get out of the group stage and potentially go on and win the competition. So I have to wait and see. But I don't see why we can't win it.
Yeah, I mean, if Potter goes on to win it, do you know what? It'll be Di Matteo coming for Villas-Boas.
Yeah.
Fucking Tuchel coming for, like you said, Lampard, and now
Yeah.
Potter coming in for Tuchel. Like, it'd be insane.
It would be mental.
But yeah, I like Potter. He's had a very good start, like you said. I watched the Spurs game last night. Do you know what? It was quite an entertaining game. I don't know, main talking points, I'd say bloody Son looked on it. He looked bloody fantastic last night. But I think special shout out to the main man up front though, Harry Kane. Baller, big time baller. Honestly, he played such a great game.
Did he miss a penalty?
He missed one penalty. He did miss one. He skied it. He did sky it. But no, but overall, if you minus that penalty, probably my man of the match of the game anyway, because it was proper striker's performance. And I saw a quote from Alan Shearer today saying if Harry Kane was in that Manchester City team, he'd be putting similar numbers up to Haaland. And you know what? I could probably back that. Yeah, I think a few bad games with England. People start to question whether he's still got it and that. he has been scoring a lot of penalties this season as well. But that's not just his game though. His game is build-up play, and fuck me, he had it last night. I tell you. I think the worrying thing would be the last 15 minutes for Conte, because Tottenham just switched off. Their Frankfurt were down to 10 men, and they just let him get back into the game. And yeah, it was typical Tottenham, shall we say? But they got the result in the end. But although Conte would be fuming, I think he has to take responsibility as well for what happened. I mean, some of the substitutions during that game, he took off Richarlison for Skip. And I like Skip. I think he's a great young talent. He was fantastic at Norwich when he was on loan there in the Championship. He was playing well under Nuno. Before he got the sack. Injuries hampered his season last year, but he's not a right winger. So what the fuck he was playing there, I don't know. And yeah, I think Conte made he must have made about 5 subs in the matter of space for like a few minutes, and that absolutely destroyed the flow of the game for Tottenham. But yeah, got any questions? Feel free to.
What were they? So what? Because I didn't actually watch that game. Were they 3-0 up? With like 15, 20 minutes to go, and then Frankfurt scored 2 goals, or
no, they were 1-0 down within 15 minutes.
Okay, yeah.
And then Kane and Son happened.
Right, yeah. So they were 3-1.
Yeah. But they I think for about after that first initial 15 minutes, they started to they dominated Frankfurt. They should have had about 4 or 5, if we're being honest. But yeah, the last 15 minutes killed it for Tottenham.
Do you think, Will, that sums up Tottenham's season so far, that they've got the results when they've needed to, but the performances have been lacking in a lot of games this season? They've not really been as good as what I think a lot of pundits and people said that they would be going into the season. They've sort of underperformed in games, but when you have got the big hitters like Kane and Son that can get you the goals, that can win you games, they've got results across the line. So what do you really think about to that sort of statement?
Personally, I don't think they had a bad game yesterday. I thought they played good football, and it was good attacking football. But like I said, the last 15 minutes killed it for them, and I think that's what has left a sour taste in Conte's mouth, and probably Spurs fans' mouths as well. But if we're talking about a season as a whole, admittedly, I haven't watched a hell of a lot of Tottenham, but I know I've been hearing performances haven't been bad, haven't been good. Sorry, they've been quite bad, but yet they've been still been getting results.
Yeah.
And you know, after the World Cup, if they're still grinding out results, that's all you can ask for. And if that's what champions are made of. So you know, yes, they lost to Arsenal, but they could easily go on a run and absolutely wipe the floor with them. If this Tottenham team isn't playing well now, imagine when they do play well. That's all I'll say.
Do you think, though, that it needs to be this season that they do get that trophy that they've been waiting for, I think, for the past 14, 15 years? Because they've got a world-class manager in Antonio Conte. They've got some world-class players in their squad, a very good squad, in general, that should be qualifying for the top 4. They did last season. Do you think... I've just lost my trail of thought.
Do I think this season is the season for a must-need trophy?
Yeah, that's what I was supposed to say. Yeah,
that should be the object for every team, the top 6 teams anyway. Every season must have silverware. So it's going to be difficult for Tottenham. But when Tottenham were signing all these players in the summer, Conte said that they need another 2 at least transfer windows to be properly competing.
Yeah.
So by the sounds of that, Conte's in it for the long haul.
Mm-hmm.
But look, cup competitions. I don't think they'll win the Premiership this year. The cup competitions like Carabao Cup, FA Cup, of course, they can go far in that, and I think they should, especially with Conte at the helm. In regards to the Champions League, do I think they're going to go far in that? Who knows? No one expected them to get to the final a few years ago. But Conte's track record in the competition isn't great, so I wouldn't expect them to go far in the competition. But again, who knows? You've got Son and Kane. Who knows?
I'd say that if you're looking at the top of the group now, and I'm just having a look at all the different sorry, I'm looking at all the different groups now, and you look at the second place team. If Tottenham won the group, Porto, Inter Milan is probably the toughest one. Salzburg, Leipzig, Dortmund, Benfica. You've got to think Tottenham have got the number on most of them teams. So that's looking.
Yeah.
If they win their group, they should be realistically be getting to the quarterfinals at least.
Yeah, I mean exactly. But they've still got I think Sporting at home, and then Marseille away, and Marseille away will be a difficult challenge for them because it's a bloody fierce place to go, Marseille. I haven't been there personally, but you've seen all the pyros and that online. They're not a bad side either. With Guendouzi, they've got Sanchez now as well. Dimitri Payet, all credible ballers. But yeah, it's not going to be easy for them. But like Lee said, if they can top their group, I think quarterfinals should be a minimum for them.
Going back to Conte, Will, do you think that potentially he could be swayed to go back to maybe Juventus? I've heard that there are reports that he's always in contact with Juventus. He has obviously a good relationship with the club. He played for them. He managed them, I think, twice. If he starts to get a little frustrated potentially with maybe not getting money from Daniel Levy in the upcoming transfer windows, or the way that they might be playing, and competing for silverware, do you think there's a chance that he might decide, Juventus are not really performing well at the moment? I know that they're probably not going to sack Allegri, currently, but maybe he could be offered the job back at Juventus. Do you think that's always an opportunity for him to potentially walk away from Tottenham and go back?
Do you know what? I think it's a media narrative that Conte isn't happy at Tottenham. And you know what? Of course, Juventus are a big club, but they are so badly in the mud right now with Allegri. I feel like, from a professional point of view, if Conte wants to win, which he does, I feel like he would have more chance of winning with Tottenham than he would with that Juventus team. He would have to spend 2 seasons at least sorting that Juventus team out. So, from a personal point of view, I couldn't see it at this time. But who knows? Tottenham's sporting director, I think, is Patrici. I want to say that right. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but he's got all these links in Syria because he was Juventus's sporting director there. So people have links all over the place. But I think it's a very driven subject from the media that Conte isn't happy at Tottenham.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I'll say on the subject. I don't have inside knowledge. I wish I did.
Well,
I'll be flexing.
You look at the. I know you said he wouldn't want to go back to Juventus because the mess are in, but I just had a look just now, and when he took over Juventus, the team that he took over finished 7th place, and he turned them into three-peat winners of the Serie A as soon as he went there. So I don't know if that is something he thinks he can do again, or he fancies at Tottenham, taking Tottenham back to winning trophies.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what Conte does, though, don't he? He goes to struggling teams and turns them into title winners. But yeah, seeing Juventus play at the minute, it's dog shite, and it really is dog shite. They spent big money on Vlahovic. He isn't really hit the ground running. Maybe that's because of Allegri's system that he plays. But when you spend big money on Vlahovic, you need to play to his strengths and not to his weaknesses. You know, fucking keep on seeing is it Milic or whatever the fuck his name is, the fucking Polish striker.
Oh, Milik, yeah.
Milik, yeah, that's it. He keeps on popping off for Juventus, and I'm thinking, what the fuck's Vlahovic doing, man? Like, you know, he was touted for this big up and coming star. You know, Arsenal were interested in him. Yeah, and he hasn't really been performing for him. But you know, I have no doubt in my mind Conte could get the best out of him and players like him. But it's such an aging squad as well, Juventus. So yeah, who knows? Who knows? So yeah, I mean, overall, what are we saying about the Champions League? Then, do we have any predictions on the winner this year? Or I mean, Barcelona are in the mud, aren't they? Really?
Yeah, Barcelona. I think they did. Was there another VAR decision? Was there a controversy in the Barcelona game? I don't know. I haven't seen it, but I was hearing about that.
I think it was something. I think Xavi thought it was a clear handball for a penalty, and it wasn't given.
Well, sorry to cut you off there, Darius, but Inzaghi got sent off. Inter Milan's manager got sent off. Inzaghi. So there must have been something kicking off. We do apologise about this, listeners. I mean, we should have maybe watched the game, but you know, when you've got the mighty English teams playing in Europe, oh yes.
I did see Inzaghi's reaction to the sort of like VAR when they were checking it VAR the replay, and his face sort of told it all. I think he looked as if like it was going to be given as a penalty because it did look quite clear, and it wasn't given. So that's I think why Xavi and a lot of the Barcelona fans got very upset about that. But I think they were still losing the game in like the 89th minute, and I think it took Robert Lewandowski's late strike into added time to get him a draw. So, you know, but I think look, Barcelona are going to have to go and beat Bayern and is it Victoria Pleasant? I think that's in there.
Yeah.
And Inter only have to beat one of the teams, which I can see them easily taking, you know, Victoria Pleasant in that game. So that's all they have to do. But Barca have to go and beat Bayern, and it's probably unlikely looking at the moment the way that they're playing.
Yeah, I mean, I think the favourites in a minute for the Champions League was it City, of course, Real Madrid, obviously for obvious reasons. Trying to think who else now. Bayern Munich, PSG.
Do we not think maybe a Liverpool, even though they're not doing very well?
Yeah, they always seem to go far, don't they?
It's always a competition that they enjoy. They've had great success in it in their history. Do we think that they could go potentially quite far?
Yeah,
definitely, 100%.
They'll probably sort out their issues sometime in the next few weeks. You've got to think.
Well, they've got the January transfer window as well to get new players in, because you'd think they'd qualify, and when they do, you know, I mean, they smashed Rangers 7-1 at Ibrox.
Yeah,
I mean, who does that at Ibrox, man? But bloody hell, what a result that was for Liverpool. Yeah, like Lee said, you'd hope to think that Liverpool sort out their problems. Hopefully Salah, after this hat trick from Salah, hopefully he can start picking up some form for them.
Yeah.
But again, it's sort of like an injury crisis again at Liverpool. That's what's happening. You know, defence, Matip and Trent, you know, both injured. Midfield, you know, injured. Diaz as well, injured. So, you know, it's going to be a task. But like I said, they've got January to reinforce, and who knows? Won it 6 times already, so why not? Why bloody not?
Exactly. There is a one team I do actually want to mention that we've not talked about yet, and there's only 3 teams that have qualified for the knockout stages. I'm pretty sure: Man City, Real Madrid, and Club Brugge of Belgium. I think it's the first time they've ever qualified.
Yeah,
they're in a group with Porto, Atletico, and Leverkusen. They've not conceded a goal yet. I think that's quite fantastic and a good advert for the Champions League. That it's not always the best team. It's not always the biggest teams that go through. Just saying.
I'm going to throw another team out there as well, Lee. Seeing as you brought up Club Brugge, I think Napoli could be a dark horse.
Yes.
For the Champions League. They do look really good, and I know that they do concede, a few goals, but they seem to just find a way to score more and just, dominate. They're top of their group at the moment. I don't know whether they've qualified yet.
I think they might have done actually.
Yeah, but they're obviously Liverpool are in their group. They beat Liverpool 4-0 or was it 4-1?
4-0, yeah.
Yeah, 4-0. So, they've looked really good so far. They've definitely looked very good in attack. But potentially they could do something. We talk about Juventus and saying how they've dominated Italian football for probably the past 10 years, 15 years, but it looks as if now you've got like Napoli and AC Milan that are sort of coming through, that they're performing better, that they're probably the most likely teams to go the furthest in the Champions League and from the Serie A. But yeah, I think Napoli do look very good.
Yeah, I mean, it's an advert for Man United to go after Osimhen, isn't it, really?
Or that Georgia winger.
Oh yeah.
I can't say 70. He's 77. Yeah, he's on the wing. Yeah, he's very good for Napoli.
No, but also United need a big number 9, don't they? And Osimhen's the one. I think. Anyway, that's a different topic for a different day.
They're playing Europa, aren't they?
Yeah, we're not talking about Thursday night.
We're only talking about the proper.
The creme de la creme.
The creme de la creme, exactly.
So if you was to say it, if you was to call it right now, Champions League final, who's going to win it?
Who's going to win it? I don't know. That's not a good answer, is it? I mean, if you're looking at everyone,
be confident, bro. Come on, be confident.
Won every game. Bayern Munich and Napoli are the only teams that have won every game.
Yeah, but Bayern Munich
Man
win
City
every game.
do have Erling Haaland.
Exactly.
So I don't want to say City are going to win it because I don't think we will.
Really?
Yeah. There's something about it.
What makes you think that?
It's just like when it comes down to it, like there's always just like we'll probably draw like Liverpool or something and get knocked out in the quarterfinals.
Oxlade-Chamberlain scored 3 screamers again.
It's just one of those things. Like it's just. I don't know if I feel it.
It's got to be City's year at some point. I mean, they have to win the Champions League with Pep Guardiola as manager, because otherwise, I mean, it will just go down, especially for many other fan bases or through other teams. They'll be saying, well, he won the Premier League, he dominated that, but again, like he did at Bayern, he won the league title, but he couldn't go on and win the Champions League, which. He's probably the best manager in the world. Let's be honest. He's got probably the best team in the world. That just needs to happen. I think it has to at some point soon. I think I'm going to be optimistic and think that City will win it this season.
Win it next year when it's at Wembley. That's what I say.
Do you know what I thought you were going to say there, Darius? I thought you were going to say Chelsea.
No, like I said, I think Chelsea probably semi-finals at best. I just think that there are other stronger squads and teams. I could see it being a Man City Bayern final, and I could see City getting that Champions League that they've been dreaming about, that they've wanted for so long.
Do you know what? My pick, and it all comes down to the World Cup. If Argentina go all the way and win the World Cup, I reckon PSG are gonna go all the way and win the Champions League, and then there'll be no debate whatsoever who the fucking GOAT is of football. Imagine that. Messi, World Cup winner, and then a few months later, Champions League winner again. Are you mental? Do you know how fucking
I just feel the problem with PSG is that they come up against so not like really easy opposition, but let's be honest, the team that they have, they should be beating, teams in their league. They should be winning that league title very easily. And I think that when they've got an easy league like they have, when they start playing real strong opposition and teams in the Champions League, that's what's let them down over the years, because they may have a really good team on paper, but as we know, a team can look really good on paper, but if things are going on behind the scenes that aren't very good, I mean, we've heard, I think a couple of days ago, that Mbappe wants to leave PSG, according to some sources, which, I mean, the guy's getting paid, I think, 250, 300 mil over 3 years at PSG, and he's still not happy. So I don't know what
Cry me a river.
Yeah, I don't know what could please that man, to be honest with you. But I don't know with PSG. They're the team that probably has the best sort of group of players in the world when you look at their team and the depth that they have, but they don't perform like that in the crucial moments.
Mate,
Mm.
Mate, Messi's going to enter God mode, smash the World Cup and then smash the Champions League. It's happening.
I can see I can see him winning the World Cup with Argentina, because I think Argentina look real. This is the best Argentina side I think I've seen in a long time. And I can see them going very far in the World Cup, definitely, because it could be Messi and Ronaldo's last World Cup, the last opportunity for them to, cement themselves as the GOAT, But
we don't talk about players who play on Thursday nights, all right?
That's true. And also, by the way, not really playing that much, shall we say, because he's not really playing that often, even though he did score the winner for United in their game against Everton.
Yeah, I mean, just to wrap it up there, then that section, for a romantic point of view, to see Messi win the World Cup and then win the Champions League, I think, yeah, I'd like to see PSG do that. But personally, I think it's going to be City. Big boy Haaland is just going to just everyone.
It's going to come up clutch.
Yeah, literally. He won't need to come up clutch. He'll just fucking. There will be no clutch moments needed. He would already have fucking 5 goals against everyone. Ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. Yeah, so either PSG or City for me. Anyway, moving on to the Premier League, the big blockbuster game.
Yeah.
Lee, take it away, my friend. Your team.
Well, we've got Liverpool away, haven't we, at Anfield? We've won once since 2003 at Anfield. 4-1 in 2021, without any fans. So there's that as well. Liverpool have been poor, I think a lot of people admit, in the Champions League. In the Premier, not the Champions League, sorry. In the Premier League, they've been very good in the Champions League, apart from their opening fixture. But you're looking at it, no Arnold or Diaz for Liverpool, or I think Arnold's a doubt at least. They're probably two of the most creative players this season who have been quite well. Arnold's been terrible, but still creates a few chances. But Luis Diaz has probably been one of their best players, bar a resurgent Bobby Firmino, which I didn't think we'd see. He's been excellent. He seems to be scoring goals for fun, which I thought something which may have passed him by. They've got Jota, they've got Nunes. I thought maybe it was at the end of his time, but he seems to have found a new spark. And then again, Nunes, I think he'll probably start against City on Sunday. He came on in the Community Shield, caused a bit of chaos. I know a lot of people take the mick out of him for not being very good, but he does cause a bit of carnage, and he might not be the best finisher, but if you have enough throws at the dartboard, you're gonna hit the bullseye at least once. So he caused a bit of chaos in the Community Shield and got a goal, which could happen again, especially seeing as though we don't have Kyle Walker as kind of like safety net to stop the counter attack, as we know Liverpool are very good on the counter attack. But yeah, it's going to be a very interesting game, and they always seem to be cracking games between Man City and Liverpool in the past few years.
I mean, I think one of the big stats of that game would be Van Dijk hasn't lost a game at Anfield for 5 years. Now he is facing probably his biggest test against a very informed Erling Haaland. And Van Dijk isn't in the best form at the minute. Can we see this Terminator of a man destroy Van Dijk?
I think we can. I think the Community Shield, I think everybody said that he had. I keep going back to that game, but a lot of people said he had Erling Haaland in his pocket. I don't think he did. I think Erling Haaland just didn't finish his chances. It was his first game. He wasn't fully fit, I don't think. Because he could have had two at least on that day. So I think he will get chances tomorrow. Not tomorrow, sorry, Sunday. And it'll definitely be very interesting to see if that record stands.
Yeah, like you said, Lee, Alexander-Arnold injured, Luis Diaz injured. Two big players for Liverpool. But Darwin Nunez got a goal against Arsenal at the weekend. He's obviously scored like he won, I don't know, the Champions League final at the Community Shield. Yeah, how do we see Nunez playing at the weekend against your back four?
Well, yeah, he's definitely going to cause a few problems, I think, because he's that type of player. He's got good movement. He can get behind. He can hold the ball up. But I think our back line will probably be Akanji, Diaz, Laporte, Cancelo, I want to say. So it's a very physical back line. I think it should be able to handle him, and I think it's going to be a great battle between him and the two centre halves.
It'll be an interesting one, won't it? Darius, you got any thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I mean, Liverpool, Man City always is a very good fixture. It's been probably the biggest fixture in the Premier League over the past sort of 4 or 5 seasons, I would say, against, really the two best teams in the league. Obviously, City this season have been very, very good. I mean, I think we all talk about City like they're dominating all aspects of the league, really. Top goal scorer, De Bruyne, I think, has got the most assists. They've scored the most goals. I think they've had the most amount of passes this season, City as well. A lot of things, but, they're not top at the moment. Arsenal are still top of the Premier League. And I'm sure that City will want to get ahead and keep up that momentum and hopefully if they keep doing what they're doing, they'll probably win another Premier League title. But it's very early to say that, and they're coming up against the Liverpool side that just haven't really been that good this season. Maybe they're in the decline. I'm not too sure. They've had a lot of injury problems, like you said, Will. I mean, Diaz will be out, Matip will be out, Trent will be out. Probably there'll be others that I haven't listed as well that are out. So it does sort of favour Man City with the way they've been playing to go on and win quite convincingly. But who knows?
Anfield, isn't it, though?
Yeah, it does. It does, show a challenge of. Well, it is a challenge for any team to play at Anfield. It's a hard ground to play at. But I mean, in this moment, if there was any team that I think that could get a job done against a Liverpool team that are not very good at the moment, I would say City would be able to do that, and they should win. But you know, Liverpool could always pull off that shock result. Who knows?
I mean, I think it's make or break for the title for Liverpool this weekend. Personally, I mean, Klopp's already said they're not in a title race, but he seems to say that when they're fucking second and on 99 points. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Do you know what? Obviously, you guys know Rory Jennings, don't you? You know, that quote at the start of the season that if Haaland gets 12 goals, he'll do well or something like that. Do you know what? If he said that about Darwin Nunez, it'd be perfect. It would have been perfect.
It would have been.
Yeah, but Nunez gets a lot of stick, which is, you know, for the money they paid, rightfully so. But do you know what? If he does get 10 goals this season in the Premier League, I think that would be a great season for him. And he can kick on from there. I think, like Lee said, he does cause chaos. He's a big man. He just needs to adapt. I think this is his second full professional season, so you know he's still a young kid. He needs to work on his offside. Fuck me, the amount of times he was offside against Arsenal, Jesus Christ. But yeah, the runs he makes, he seems to be getting into the right positions. Against Arsenal, he was anyway. And Klopp seems to be a big fan of him. So I think next few years we'll see a real player in Nunez. But at the minute, it will be difficult for him against a City team. I think it is City's to lose now. This game, personally. I mean, but like you said, Lee, it's at Anfield, so who knows? Who knows what will happen? What do we reckon? Front three of Liverpool will be? Obviously, it'll be Salah and Nunez. Who do you think will take Diaz's spot?
I mean, Firmino's probably got to start. It depends whether he goes for that 4-2-3-1 because he played that 4-2. Did he play that 4-2-3-1 against Arsenal?
Yeah.
With Firmino in kind of the 10 role. I think if he does that, they'll have a lot more chance against City because if he plays a midfield of Henderson, Thiago, and Fabinho, you know, Rodri, De Bruyne, and Silva or Gundogan are going to absolutely run rings around them three there.
I don't think Firmino started against Arsenal. I think he come on for Diaz when Diaz went off injured.
Oh. Yeah,
I think it was Jota. Jota was playing
Jota,
as the 10.
sorry. Oh, so
yeah. I could see Jota playing out on the left. Yeah, and then I think, yeah, like you said, Lee, Firmino just slots in as at the 10, which is probably his best position, not as a 9. Yeah, Firmino, like you said, has been absolutely wonderful to watch this season. He's probably playing for a new contract at Liverpool. Whether he gets it or not will be a different question. Does he deserve it? Probably, I'd say so. But yeah,
he's a fan favourite as well, you know, amongst the Liverpool fans. So, I mean, I can't see why they wouldn't want him to stay. And plus the fact it adds depth to the team, you know. They're probably not as strong, especially with injuries at the moment, in terms of the squad depth compared to, you know, City. And if they want to still keep up with how good City are, then they are going to have to reinforce, you know, in the next couple of transfer windows. But yeah, I don't see why they don't keep Firmino because he's been great so far this season, and he can get goals, he can create chances.
Lee, obviously Mahrez didn't play well Tuesday night. Who do you think will be starting alongside Haaland? Obviously, it'll probably be Foden. Do you reckon it'll be Grealish or Mahrez?
I
Or
think,
Silva?
I think he's going to start with Foden on the right and Grealish on the left, personally. Because I think Grealish has been quite good this season. He's not a player for the goals or the assists. Like when he played against Man United, he scored 6 goals, but he was involved in like 3 of the goals, but he didn't get any goals or assists. So everyone was like, you know, he didn't have the greatest game on Wednesday night, but I think he's improving all the time. He's picking up them half spaces in like the inside left, which he wasn't really doing last season, and he's been a bit more direct because a lot of last season he'd just go down the line, cut back, pass it to Cancelo, and he'd do something. But this season he's running at players, he's going onto his left foot, he's cutting inside and shooting. So I think definitely he'll probably start. And if you look at like our last few games against Liverpool, we've always had success down that left-hand side with Sane and Foden and Sterling all getting joy against whether that be Gomez or Trent Alexander-Arnold. So I think he's going to have to be a key player if he does start on Sunday.
But he's got to be licking his lips if it's either, well, it won't be Arnold, so it will be Gomez. But yeah, like I said, he's got to be licking his lips against that right back. Darius, what's your score predictions for this game then?
3-0 City.
3-0 City. Fuck.
I just think that I don't think Robertson will be back either. So
yeah, but Tsimikas is half decent left back. He's decent.
Yeah,
I think he's better than Robertson. He's had games better than Robertson.
I think with the way that Liverpool have been playing this season, the injuries as well, to add to that, I just think City will break them down. It might take them a bit longer potentially than they'd want, to take. Maybe Liverpool sort of hanging on a bit in defence. I see dominating the ball. That's always what they like to do, and they do it with ease. But I mean, once City break the deadlock, which I think they will, I think they'll gain momentum from there, and I think they'll just cruise to victory. So I don't see Liverpool scoring. I just think City, even though they have conceded more goals this season than previously, and they probably haven't been as defensively as good, they still going forward are just so yeah, just the best probably team in the world at going forward. So I can see it being quite a comfortable win for City, even though it's at Anfield.
Lee, you can ask the City man himself. What are you saying?
I'm gonna be quite confident and say 2-1 to City. I think we'll score twice, but I think it'll be one of them games where we'll score twice, but we should have scored more. I think Liverpool have had quite a few of them games this season where Alisson has been their man of the match and they've lost. Or like the game against Brighton, people were saying he's the man of the match and they still conceded 3. I think it'll be a bit like that, and I think Liverpool will definitely score because, well, Ederson and Anfield don't usually go well. So, so there's always something in that. But yeah, I think we could get the win 2-1.
You know what? I'm going to go big and bold here. 4-3 to Man City. I'll tell you what, Haaland to get fucking quadruple. No, he will get 2 at least. And then fucking Firmino will pop up with 1. Fucking Salah will probably get a couple as well. That's what I'm going with. I'm going 4-3 to Man City.
That would be a great game.
It
would be a really good game.
Mystic Mac didn't really do well in the last episode, but he's coming back for revenge. Should we have a look at the other Premier League games this weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's one tomorrow night. Brentford v Brighton. Obviously, Brighton were a bit unlucky in their last Premier League game against Tottenham. Brentford have lost 2 on a bounce. Is it now? Maybe 3.
They've drawn 1 and
Okay.
lost 2.
How are we seeing that one going? Friday night under the lights.
I think Brighton are still looking for the first win under the new manager, but he has played Tottenham and Liverpool, so I think say Brighton will win that. I think.
I'll go for a draw. I think. I don't know. I think maybe Brentford at home might get a point. especially with Brighton having a new manager. But yeah, I'll go with a draw.
I will go with a Brighton win, but I could see it being a draw. So the early kickoff on Saturday is a very, very, very big game for probably both these sides, but more so for Leicester. Leicester v Palace. Obviously, Leicester have only got one win this season, and that was against Nottingham Forest. How are we seeing this one, lads?
I'm gonna say Palace are gonna win, and Rodgers is gonna be sat by 5:30.
Darius, the Leicester man.
I'm going to say Leicester. I'm going to say a Leicester win. I am. I went with a Leicester win against Forest. It happened. I know Leicester have not been very good at all this season. They've been way off what we've seen from the quality that they've, shown in the past few seasons. I can't see a team though like Leicester going down. That they do look like they're not in a great position at the moment, obviously, and but I think they can get a home result against Palace. I don't think Palace are in the best of form, even though they did win against Leeds. They're still, I think Leicester, with the quality they have in the team, could get a win, but I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't. But I'm going to back Leicester to win.
You're nuts, I tell you. You are bloody nuts. Fucking
the
likes of Zaha, Elise, Eze, all running at fucking that defence and having shots against a non-professional goalkeeper in Danny Ward. Are you mental? Are you mental?
No,
Only like fucking 5 or 6.
Well,
I'm joking. I love Danny Ward. I have nothing against you personally, mate.
That is the issue for Leicester, the goalkeeper. But then again, they have got other issues with they haven't really recruited and bought many players in this summer.
Yeah, Crystal Palace win.
They have a few players.
Palace wins are hard to get fucking 10 goals. Elise to get 10 assists.
No. Is this just because you're a bit of an Elise fanboy, Will?
Fanboy.
From the Reading.
Yeah,
he's a good player.
He is a
fucking
player.
bowler.
He's decent.
He's going to be snapped up by one of the top teams soon. I tell you. Another relegation 6-pointer, 3:00. Fulham v Bournemouth. Well, I say relegation. Fulham are doing quite well.
Yeah.
Oh, Bournemouth.
Yeah, and Bournemouth.
Fulham.
I'm chatting shit. What do I know about football? Not a lot.
5 unbeaten for Bournemouth.
Oh no, they're fucking popping off, mate. I tell you, they're popping off. The cherries are getting popped. Hey. I'm here all week. Right, so what are we saying? Fulham v Bournemouth. What are we saying?
I'm saying it's at Fulham. If it was at Bournemouth, I'd probably say a Bournemouth win, but because it's at Fulham, I'll go with a draw. I think score draw.
I agree. Draw.
I'm going for a Bournemouth win.
Fucking hell.
Is Mitro still injured? That's the thing, because I think he might be injured for Fulham, and that's obviously an issue for them because he's their main threat. He's their talisman, goal scorer.
Might not be able to play through the pain barrier. That's what I'm reading. Yeah.
We'll just whack him an injection.
I mean, I could just say, like, Bournemouth, they were 1-0 down to Leicester last weekend. They came back about 4 minutes and they scored 2 goals. So, I could see Bournemouth getting I could see Bournemouth winning.
Yeah, me and Lee agree. Score draw, don't we? Yeah.
Yep.
Darius, is this a bit of a derby? Wolverhampton Wanderers and Nottingham Forest, or not? Or is it a bit too?
Yeah, it could be. I mean, East versus West Midlands. I mean, there's always a rivalry with Wolves, obviously with Villa as well, but Nottingham Forest and Leicester. That's with the Midlands derby. Yeah, you could consider it a bit of a not like a real proper derby, but it sort of
it's fairly close, isn't it?
Yeah.
What we're saying now, this is a big 6-pointer relegation scrap. What we're saying, Wolves have just sacked Bruno Lage as well. Do you reckon they'll pull something off or not? I say just sacked. He played a week. They played without him, didn't they, at Chelsea? What do I know about football? Not a fucking lot. Oh, do you know what surprised me? Bloody fucking Steve Cooper getting a.
Yeah.
See.
Yeah.
I think he's a good manager. I mean, 22 players don't bloody help, but
Well, I found it funny.
Yeah. Oh, he's mate. They were bottom of the championship. He took them over, won the playoffs with them. Quality manager. He was quality at Swansea as well.
I find it funny that they've just sacked the recruitment. They had the recruitment as well. Signed 22 players and they sacked the recruitment.
That means they must be sticking with Cooper then.
Yeah.
Which isn't the worst thing because I think he's, like I said, a good manager. Yeah, sorry. Predictions. What are we going with?
Wolves win.
Draw. I think it'll be a draw.
You know what, Lee? I think you're right. You know, we're going to be seeing more RKO setups from fucking Dean Henderson after he. Bloody hell! Every time he concedes, he goes, RKO out of nowhere.
I saw that tweet from you, Will. I saw that. I did.
Thanks for liking it, mate. Appreciate it.
He's been setting them up. All he needs to do is really pounce. He does. He needs to RKO one of his back line.
Big Scott McKenna. Fuck it. Oh dear. 5:30 kickoff on Saturday. Spurs v Everton. We spoke a lot about Spurs. Well, I spoke a lot about Spurs earlier. Lampard's got a good record against Tottenham. How are we seeing this one going?
Well, I don't think Everton have been particularly too bad in recent weeks.
They've done all right. Start of the season was a bit shaky, but they've sort of calmed down a bit.
They got the first few wins, haven't they? And then they lost United after going ahead. It's probably going to be a Tottenham win, but if Everton snuck a point, I don't think I'd be too surprised.
Look at him. He's chatting shit again. Look at him.
No, I was going to say, when you've got Emerson Royale in defence, anything can happen. Do you know?
Is he back?
He's suspended, bro, isn't he? Or is he back?
No, he's suspended. Yeah, he will be.
So I had him there.
Forgot about that. Yeah. Well, that's probably a blessing for Tottenham. Then that's probably why I'll go with a Tottenham win, because it'll be either Jed Spence or Doherty starting most likely.
Mate, he'll fucking whack Perisic he'll whack Perisic at right wing back. He done that against Brighton, I think.
Sessegnon at left wing back, yeah. But no, I can see it being a Tottenham win.
Yeah, I'm 2-1 Spurs, yeah. Yeah. Moving on to Sunday, we've got Aston Villa against Chelsea. Chelsea, hard to believe. What we're saying, Darius, you're going to put the sword to Steven Gerrard's reign at Aston Villa or not?
I think we'll win 2-0. That's what I'll go with. I think we'll get a clean sheet. We've been getting quite a lot of clean sheets recently. I think we've scored 10 and only conceded 1 in the past 4 games. So in all competitions, so we look defensively stronger. Villa don't look that great. I think they drew to Nottingham Forest in their last game. Wasn't really a great fixture at all. But yeah, I can see us just comfortably winning 2-0. It could be more goals, I don't know, but I'll go with just a comfortable 2-0 win away from home.
Lee, any?
Yeah, I'd say Chelsea probably pretty easily. Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to go for a draw, and I'll tell you for why. Villa Park, mate. I can't hear what he's saying, but
I'll
it's
say,
funny.
dickhead.
Oh,
No, I'm joking.
you weren't know, were you?
Took that one to heart.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna go for a draw. I think Villa need a result desperately, and I think that Villa Park, when it's bouncing, it's bouncing. You know, it's one of the best grounds in the Premier League, and I reckon they may be able to help the team get over the line. But whether they do or not, we'll find out on Sunday. Right, a big game for Arsenal now, away at Ellen Road.
Mm.
Do you know what? I'm going to hit it off straight at the back. It's either going to be a Leeds win or a draw. I think this is their first proper. Wait, they lost at Old Trafford, didn't they?
Yeah.
Arsenal?
Yeah.
Have they played anywhere else that's been like fucking a tough place to go? It's Ellen Road. Fucking hell.
They played Sellers Park.
Oh, Sellers Park, yeah.
Where else have they been? Bournemouth away is not exactly the most fearsome, is it?
Yeah, fucking hell. Get attacked by seagulls.
With the 11,000, 12,000
Yeah.
stadium.
No, I see what you mean. I think, yeah, I could see Leeds getting some out of that. It's one of them games where you think they'll do it, they'll roll them over easily, and then they'll have a tough time. That Brendan Aronson that
He's a
Leeds
baller,
have
isn't he?
got has
Yeah,
been fantastic so far. If he's the shot that hits the post and they score the rebound off, if that goes in, that wins goal of the month. It's unbelievable.
Do we they've got they had a player sent off against who did they play before Palace?
Villa.
Was it Villa?
Yeah.
They have a player sent off against Villa, didn't they? Leeds, I think.
Yeah.
And it was
Luis
one of
Sinistera.
that's it.
Yes,
He looks very good. I don't know if he'll be back for Leeds.
I think he got 2 yellow cards.
Okay, so he should be back then.
Yeah.
You never know. I think he's a good footballer. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Darius, what do you think of this game?
I'm gonna disagree with you too. I'm gonna go with an Arsenal win. Look, I'd be wanting to say that Leeds get a point, maybe a win. That'd be great from me being a Chelsea fan. But I don't know. I just think Arsenal look very good. They've got that momentum after winning the game against Liverpool. I think they've just won again in the Europa League tonight. So, they're on a real good run of form, and I can see them extending that and beating Leeds.
Another, it used to be an old school rivalry back in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Manchester United, Newcastle. It's going to be a tough old game for Man United and Eric Ten Hag. Newcastle have been picking up big results recently against Fulham and Bournemouth. No, not Bournemouth. Sorry, who did they? Brentford, weren't it? What are we saying then for this game?
I think Newcastle will give them a good game, but I think Man United will still. If it was at St James's Park, I'd probably favour Newcastle. But as it's at Old Trafford, I think United will probably get the win.
I'm going to go 3-2 Newcastle.
I'm going to go with a draw. I think Newcastle look good.
Lee's crying about that. Oh.
No, I'm just looking at the Man United score at the moment.
Re-
They're still drawing 0-0 in the 70th minute, but they've had 25 shots.
Is it to some sort of Wi-Fi password
Cypriot.
or something?
Yeah. Ammonia.
Cypriot too.
Cyprus, yeah.
Yeah, never heard of them. No disrespect, but yeah.
That's funny.
I changed my mind actually. No, Newcastle win. Yeah, that Bruno Guimaraes is he's a special talent. He is very good.
I mean, I don't know why fucking Gabby Agbonlahor is comparing him to Ben Arthur when he's more like fucking Johan Cabaye. But we move from Talksport because they chat so much bollocks.
I think Real Madrid were interested in him when they sold Miro. They said that they were looking at Bruno Guimaraes. So You know, he's a top player. Newcastle look pretty good. They've had some, you know, decent
Big
results.
wins.
Yeah. I can see him winning. You know, Man United have improved, but I still don't think it's all sort of come together yet under Eric Ten Hag. I think Newcastle could, get a result, could win.
Potentially the last game for Ralph Hasenhüttl. Hasenhüttl. On Sunday. They've got West Ham, but it's at St Mary's. Obviously, Southampton have signed a lot of young, raw talent this season. They're out of the relegation zone at the minute, I believe.
Yes.
How do we see this one going? Do you reckon David Moyes will get the big dub against Ralph or not?
No, I said well.
Sorry.
West Ham they've won their last two. After a pretty shaky start, to be honest. They're 2-0 up actually at the moment. I've just seen against at home to Anderlecht. I think West Ham will win to make it 3 in a row, and I think it's going to be a race. Who's going to get sacked first, Hasenhüttl or Brendan Rodgers for me?
Brendan. Yeah. Sure, great character.
Brendan out. Have you seen that?
Yeah. On Brendan, the tannoys, weren't it?
Zach Rogers.
Yeah. Sure, great character. Oh, Darius, what are you saying? Southampton, West Ham.
I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with Southampton win. That's a bit of a shock. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Southampton win. I don't know. I feel like Southampton are just one of these like funny teams that they need to, like, you know, pick up a result when they need to pick up a win. They get it. I don't know. I just think that they might get a win against West Ham. You know, I think Southampton are at home as well.
Yeah.
That's an advantage to them at least. I can see them winning 2-1 maybe, but yeah.
I think you're right. Whenever there's pressure on Big Ralph, he fucking always pulls it out of the bag somehow, don't he? But I think lack of experience in that team, you know, and they're all. I was speaking to our mate Matt, who we went to uni with. He was saying they got rid of majority of the recruitment department, and all these signings were down to Ralph this year. So, gonna be a tricky one. I'm gonna go with a draw. Yeah.
Sitting on the fence.
Yeah, I am. João Rebo scoring, big Scamacca going to score as well. And then obviously we said our Liverpool Man City predictions, but for one last time, let's hear him again. Lee.
2-1 City.
Darius.
3-0 City.
Will 4-3 City. Right. I think that's a good place to stop there, lads. Are you happy with that?
Yeah,
great.
Right. Yeah, hopefully this goes up soon, and then catch us on the next one. Like and subscribe, people.
Peace out.
Peace out.